What's up, family and friends? This is for my DIY folks. GMC Acadia 2008. Doing an alternator change on this. It's not charging. Hooked up the new battery, and it's not even charging the brand new battery. The old battery was spanked. It gotten so hot it expanded because the alternator wasn't charging. It was too much strain on the battery. But I want to give a couple pointers, couple shortcuts that other YouTubers have put out there. But to remove tension off this belt, you will have to have a half-inch belt removal tool. It is way too tight in there. O'Reilly's has this whole set for $31, and you essentially take this half-inch, and I don't have a jack, so all I did was I turned the wheel to the max right position. I've already taken off the splash guard. A trim tool kit, removal kit, will be good too, beneficial. It's just what it looks like. This is a trim tool removal kit, and these forks, they do wonders on these clips right here. So anyway, I'm just going to give you a brief and show you that once you have gotten this splash guard out of the way, you are essentially just having two tools down here to get this belt off and to go up top to finish the rest of your work. Essentially, once you get the splash guard off, you have full access to the belt here. And this belt, we have a half-inch socket. Let's see here. Show you guys. This is the tensioner right here. Let me focus the camera. There's the okay. Sorry for it being shaky, but you'll get this removal tool and you'll put it on in here. And once it's in here, if you have a jack, you know, you can jack the car up, but hooking this up, since I'm so, you know, far on the ground, this part isn't gonna do you no good. Not the part that you just, this is if you have it high enough in the air to hook it up to this part for leverage. But basically, you're taking this and you're turning it clockwise, and you're just gonna see this belt tensioner move. But let me show you. Hold on, Jeremiah. I'm shooting a video, Dad. Hold on just a minute. See how this moves? This moves, and that allows you to remove tension off the belt. I've already removed tension off the belt, and it's to the side to where I can move and manipulate what I need to manipulate. This bolt goes through the alternator, runs right through it. So when you come down here, all you're doing is removing a splash guard, getting your half-inch belt removal tool from O'Reilly's, or if you have one, great. Get your belt tension removal tool so that you can release tension on this belt, and just slide it off of the pulley. Just one pulley. I still have it pretty much just laying on the other pulleys. You know, it's just chilling. That way, when I put the new alternator in, it will, you know, I won't have to put so much belt on, or too much belt routing. But anyway, back this 15mm bolt out of the alternator, because there's 3 bolts holding this alternator in. Once you back that bolt off, it will not come all the way out because it's hitting this firewall right here. So this is where, you know, you just back it out as much as possible. As a matter of fact, I need to back it out just a little more. It's gonna fall out once I pull it out up top, but I got the stud. I'm just gonna turn it a little more. Okay, so you see where it's just it's hitting the, it's pretty much hitting the firewall. So once you get your 2 items out of the way, you know, 3 actually, because the splash guard, we're gonna remove this alternator from this panel right here. When you remove this alternator, you're gonna remove it right here. Now it's got 2 studs in it with 2 15mm sockets. Well, two 15mm nuts. Has 2 15mm nuts. I've already taken them off the studs. Let me show you these studs you got. Well, I left this stud is off because these studs have they're supporting an AC bracket, which I went ahead and removed 1, 2, 3 10mm bolts that held the coolant reservoir. Now I put one bolt back just because I want my line secure. I don't want it flopping all over the place. Now, of course, I've already taken the electricals off the alternator. 13mm bolt, back it off. One connection right here on the alternator. You just squeeze this, squeeze that, and it pulls right out. So, as you can see, the two studs that were holding brackets. Let me see. Let me move this wire out of the way so you can see. All right, you got two studs in this alternator. Move this out of the way so you can see. There's a stud, and here's a stud. Now, I put this 15 back on so that it can hold the alternator in place while I remove the stud. The stud is actually loose. It's a little loose already. I was thinking I can turn it out by hand, but I'm gonna back this stud out. It has a 7mm hex head on the stud. This is a 7mm hex head. So you'll take a 7mm socket, and once you put that socket down there, you'll see that it turns. Put it to where you guys can see it, but it's turning. Now, if you had a ratcheting wrench, this would just come right off. But you see how it's turning. Well, you'll see that it's barely turning, but this is going to be a while. So once I get the stud out, you're just going to remove this stud, and the alternator is going to slide off the other stud because there's no nut on it to hold it. There's no nut. It's just going to slide right off. I'm going to slide it off and put it on this panel right here so that I can remove it from the fender well right here. So if you stay tuned for a second, I'll show you. All right, so let's see what you guys can see. So see how this, I actually just got a wrench, 7mm socket on it. See, this is backing out like it's supposed to. This alternator will be dropping soon. Now I'm gonna have to cut the video just to catch it. Probably don't have to catch it because it's the old one, but you know, the actual bolt that runs through the alternator, that third bolt that I was telling you guys about, is still connected. It will be falling out. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to get it on camera so you can see that bolt. Actually, I'll just see if I can zoom down there. So you can see it. I want you to see it. Let's turn this around. Okay, there's the bolt right there. When I take this alternator out, all that's going to fall to the ground, and it's going to fall as it has spacers in it that you want to make. It is crucial that you install this in with the spacers. So let me finish getting that nut out. And when we get this nut out, I'm going to show you your idler pulley that runs through the alternator with the spacers in it so that you can install it correctly when you put this back together. So hold on just a minute. All right, friends, we're back. So go ahead and take the other stud out, because I know I said just take one out. I've seen other videos where they take one out and they're able to slide it, but their working conditions are a little different. Because when I try to take this off, I prefer not to bring it up through here because I don't want to bump and bang the AC line. I'd rather just put it through here. I saw a video where this guy, he just literally lifted it up, sat it right there, and then took it out from here. You see my hand, well, trying to be funny, like hey, you know. See that? So you just just take it out from there. But we're gonna lift this bad boy up, set it right there, and take it out. And then we're gonna go to O'Reilly's and get the reman. The factory one costs $474. We're gonna go with the reman with the lifetime warranty. I pray that we don't have to keep changing it out for nonsense. But this is what you have to do to save money sometimes. Guys, you understand that. This job easily, I think it's over $1,000. Sometimes these parts I think are overpriced, and our techs at these dealerships would get more business if this stuff wasn't overly expensive. But I have respect for the techs, you know, everything they do. I've had my Maxima serviced only by the dealership because I trust them. Catalytic converters, $3 grand, both sides. Bank 1, bank 2. Only trust the dealer with stuff like that. And shout out to Rivergate Nissan. So that's what we're doing. Dakota, my tech, he's my service tech, and the mechanics, everybody. Appreciate everything. So this is what we got. We're gonna finish up here, get this alternator up here, get it out the car, and head down and go to the store and get a new one in so that we can get my wonderful neighbor back in business. All right. All right, friends. Alternator is sitting there. Focus. Sitting there, waiting for removal from the tire. And my tensioner, our little tensioner's down here that I wanted to show you guys. So, see this spacer? If that falls off, and the equipment in this other, these do not install this idler pulley without this equipment, or else you're gonna have some problems. So we see that everything's intact with an idler pulley that goes through that third bolt on the alternator. Now, there's the alternator right there, man. Let's get it around. This sucker's heavy too. This sucker's heavy, man. I'm just being real. All right, this little brace right here, man, it's in the way. We don't want to struggle too hard on camera, so let me get it around this brace, and she'll be out. And you can already see there's the two studs for the alternator, 1, 2, and the third bolt is right up. It's right up there. Well, it's right here. You can't see it, but this, well, I'll put when I pull it out the vehicle, I'll show you the three setup. It's not as bad. It's just getting this splash guard off. That's time consuming. And maybe having a jack would be less time consuming. But hey, we're working with what we got, guys. We're doing with what we have. You see? So if you're DIY and you're on limited resources, you know, use what you have. And just make sure you have all your parts. Whatever you don't have, source out, rent it out. $31, you can't beat it. All right. All right, friends, we got it out. So we'll put it up here on the car so that you can see this thing is heavy. So what we have is the 3-bolt setup that I was telling you now. It sits in the vehicle like this. It sits exactly like that with the belt. You got 2 studs go through it, and that tricky bolt is right there. That's what the alternator, that's what the idler pulley, that's what that sits in. Literally, these are all, that's a 15. I know I already said it, but that's a 15. The nuts are 15s, and I put them back on the studs to keep from losing them. And like I said, you got a 7mm hex head. Get your 7mm socket. Put it on your 3/4 ratchet. And these studs weren't even on there hard. I'm telling you, they were so easy to get out. So this is what we have, guys. We're gonna go get a new alternator, and we're gonna install it all in. And I just wanted to give some tips on removal. There are other videos with installation removal, like 30-minute videos. This was just a shortcut video from the DIY guy, adding on to the other videos that he's seen. So look at that, that fell off from the idler pulley. So you see how that can happen. Put it right back on. So nothing, you know, hey, I learned that from one of them videos. Just think if you're in a rush and that fell off and you're like, what's going on? Well, you're missing something. Make sure that's on. Guys, take care. We're gonna get this on, and I'll show a buttoned up video of everything intact and running. We're gonna take it for a drive after we're done. Remember guys, lifetime warranty on these alternators when you put them in, so you'll never have to pay for another alternator again if you do it again, if you have to do it again. You just have to invest your time to do this stuff. So I'm you know, with just running back and forth to the store, I'm about this, I hate to say it, I mean, this is my first time doing this. This was like 2 hours for me to get this, because all that was just, the splash guard is so, this stuff is really, it's on there, man. But if you have all your tools, if I had everything to begin with, I'd say an hour and a half, everything. All right, we'll get it in and we'll update you. All right, friends, we're back from Advanced Auto Parts. I'm sorry, O'Reilly's. And new alternator. Put it in through the fender well. And you want to angle it to where you're going to turn it and put your idler pulley in there to get it started from the top. So I'm going to maneuver this in place for installation, and we'll be right back. All right, we have it angled for installation, and for the alternator for this pulley, I'm going to come in through the fender well and just put it through that third slot, which is this right here. We're going to put that in, and that way I can hold the alternator in place to put the studs in. A bunch of these. I'm sure you're familiar with these already because we've went over them a couple of times. Notice I still have the washers on them to keep them from being lost. 7mm hex head, which we will tighten those up. We're just tightening this up so you can see it. But you're installing them into the block. Hex heads on this side for tightening up with your 7mm ratchet. So let me get this idler pulley installed in our third slot, and then we'll get our 2 studs in, and installation will be complete. From there you'll just have wires to connect, brackets to go on front of these studs. And of course I'll pull these washers off too. We'll pull the nuts off to install the brackets, and then we'll put the 15mm nuts back on, tighten those up, and we'll button everything up and get everything tested out here. So hang on tight. We're gonna get this in position for installation. All right, family and friends, well, we got the alternator in now. Correction, you will find installing the studs first to hold the alternator in place for pulley installation is more beneficial. The alternator is too heavy in the first place to be holding it and trying to thread it like I did, and I did struggle with this. So I installed the studs first, then the pulley. You will also see that the belt was stuck behind the pulley in the video. So I did find that out later on in the video to remove it so that I can snug the pulley correctly. Installation was great after that. 2 studs in. Once you get those 2 studs in, just have the washers holding the the nuts holding the alternator in place, or at least one nut. I got a 15 right there sitting on it, just holding in place. The other 15's right here. I'll install that one after I explain how I got this idler pulley in. So anyway, you want to, once you get that idler pulley in, I'll show you. You need to just hand thread it all the way until it stops. So it's in there, but you have to, what you want to do is at least get it in place. You come down here and you got to pull that out. You'll have enough wiggle room up there, just because the washers, the alternator's not all the way tightened in until you got the brackets hooked up. Then the nuts go on. But what I'm getting to is that when this bolt goes through the alternator, you also got to make contact with the block to hit those threads. And what you want to do is, you want to pull that alternator back, put that threaded bolt all the way through until you hit that block. Then you feel around until you get that hole, because you can't see that hole. So I'm just using this as an example. Move that bolt around until you hit that hole, and then once you get that hole, then you can start threading that bolt, start threading that in. If you got a ratcheting wrench, that'll do you wonders, because you can just ratchet it in. But I had to hand thread it in, and then I'm gonna take my 15mm wrench, and don't overdo this, because you can break a bolt in a block. You just want to tighten it until it stops. I don't know I couldn't find any torque specs for this vehicle, so the way it felt when I took it off, that's the way that I'm gonna put it back on, is the way it felt, which was very light torque. It only took one turn to get this bolt off. I mean, it was off. So I'm going to snug this in place, and I'm not going to snug it in place until I get the brackets on up top, and then I'm gonna snug this last. That way my belt is routed correctly and that there's no misalignment or anything. I don't want misalignment. I'm gonna tighten that up last, just to be on the safe side. But get the brackets in, tighten everything up, and we'll show a running shot of this. But like I said, once you get that bolt started down there, take your hand and move this alternator back and forth like that while you're tightening up that idler pulley. Once you're doing this and tightening it up, it loosens up that bolt to go into the block, or else you're not going to get it. You just do that back and forth. And now we're going to go ahead and get the power steering bracket and there was two brackets, but the power steer bracket, and I want to say it was the AC bracket. I need to figure out where it's at, but yeah, I'll show a running shot of everything after it's all buttoned up. It's yeah, so we'll show a running shot. All right, y'all, belt is routed. Disconnect battery negative before you start any repair. I did not mention that. And so belt is routed and everything. We're gonna go ahead. There's a T15 that holds this floorboard in place. This right here will tighten up with a T15. We're gonna go ahead and put battery positive on, and we're gonna test running voltage when we start the car. It's got a volt gauge, and also I'm gonna pull out my multimeter. So I'll demonstrate that to confirm this repair, and we'll be right back. Moment of truth, guys. After the repair, okay, we got hood. That's about it. And now we're gonna go ahead and start the vehicle and see if we're charging. All right. Looks like a successful repair, guys. She's charging at 14 volts. We're gonna get the voltmeter out next, guys. Hold on just a minute. All right, let's do a measurement. We should be good, guys, but we're gonna do a measurement here. So hold on just a minute. Perfect. All right, here is the test voltage. It's sprinkling all around the place, but we have 14 volts. So that means the battery's charging, and it's no longer at 11 volts. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.